back to Saxthorpe Farms, and our first job is to sell off the last of the maize silage. The price is still really good, so we're going to get that done through February. It's not all processed yet, but I am still intending, and I do in fact update the fermenting silo so that it will ferment what's left at least within the month. So having it set up so that it takes probably the best part of half a year to ferment a full silo is not really realistic, I don't think. Watching people like 10th gen Dairyman, it doesn't take 6 months for their silos to ferment. So I'm gonna make a little tweak to that. I mean, it was originally based on CCM, which is kind of low volume generally, and the idea was that it would provide enough that you could use it in your feeding and stuff. And to be honest, this is the first time I've actually used this mod. I never used it. It was one of the few mods that I've created that was based on a community request, because there was a CCM fermenter in FS19 forage extension, so knocked that up because some of the community asked for it, and so I'd never actually used it. I don't think. Might have put it on my Maize Plus test game, but not really used it in anger. So yeah, had a little bit of a fine tune. So I've got all 3 main tractors and trailers running to kind of speed up the process. There's quite a lot to get through. I think there was about 400,000 litres in the silo still to get sold. So yeah, apologies for the random steering wheel jumping. I play on keyboard, and keyboard steering is quite abrupt. I should really try some of the mods to improve the behavior on keyboard. Even I'm not running it, but even VCA has it. So yeah, I should be doing that. Apologies if you can hear it. The neighbours have got the drill out again. Yeah, it wouldn't be a month without them breaking the drill out, would it? Yeah, there must be nothing left in that house that hasn't had a hole drilled in it. Anyway, hopefully it won't be too loud. So this is take 2 of trying to record this commentary. For a couple of reasons, I binned the first one. So the first one had a lot less drilling in it, but I don't actually know if that's coming through. We will find out later on. You guys always said you couldn't hear it when it was at its worst, so we will see. So we're now only, actually by the time this comes out, probably about 3 or 4 days from release of the horse DLC, maybe less by the time this comes out. And, yeah, kind of looking forward to that. It's going to be a nice addition, particularly using some horse kit on here. Probably going to bring it in on here, I think, definitely. Yeah. Interested to see what comes with it. I can't see me playing the map that comes with it, but I don't map jump anyway, so, but yeah, not sure I'll be playing on there particularly. I think it's the platinum, so premium expansion, which has the stalks on anyway, which is the real excitement in Farm Sim is when we get stalks flying around the map. At that point I'm stopping everything just so we can play on there. Not really, just in case you didn't pick that up. Yeah. So I'm doing better today, I think. A bit more mentally with it, kind of. Yesterday was a really long day, so yesterday was a 14-hour work day, near enough, with traveling and working. So yeah, kind of tired, but hey. This, I think, was the only time Auto Drive managed to get itself stuck in quite a lot of karting with 2 tractors running on Auto Drive and me driving. So pretty impressed actually that I'm still using my half-assed Auto Drive network, and yeah, I'm pleased that it would probably, because I think I have 2 one-way courses on here. It would probably be better having a 2-way, because that would get Auto Drive to probably pause the tractor to wait Something that I've noticed a lot more using it in FS22 is the waiting feature that which is really cool. I'm always amazed with how well things like auto drive and course play work, and the effort the guys have put into coding those and making them so that the performance hit isn't awful. I remember playing FS19 early on my old Dell laptop and trying to do course play with like 6 combines on a massive field on the Wild West 16x map, and my laptop just going, just give me a minute, I'll be back. But once you got it going, it was fine. So yeah, I was always impressed with how well code worked. Yeah, and that laptop, even when my good laptop was dead, that laptop did hold up well to playing FS22 and recording, given that it's must be a 5-year-old laptop now. Yeah, it's certainly 5 generations of Intel processor old, so it's it did a reasonable showing. And so FS is quite a weird game, I think, in that it's quite badly optimized if you've got high-end hardware, but it'll run on most things if you're sensible. And I had to pretty heavily cut back on my mods folder, but it would run. So on to February 3, we've had some snow, and this is the last of the silage going in, so everything else is sold. We can switch that off. I'm going to keep the fermenting silo. The bunker of bales, or the bale bunker, is going to be sold because we need to plough that plot back in because it's in the middle of the field. But that did work really well. So a bit of an update on that. Hope you don't mind me sharing Cartec. If you do, it's kind of tough. So that was submitted to Giants. It failed its first round of testing, but I know Cartec has resubmitted it. So hopefully we'll have that available, or Cartec will have that available to everyone soon. It includes the original sugar beet one, the silage clamp that you've seen me use, and a potato store as well. So it gives you plenty of options for cheap storage of stuff. So it sold nearly 130 grand's worth of silage, probably over that with the environmental bonuses, because although our farm isn't in great shape, we're at least positive on that, and that's going to get better now as we get the fields working. So into March, and I'm just going to make a note of the time because the drilling is particularly loud. I can feel it on my feet. Into March, and we're going to get our new field scanned. So the D52 is on its way up to the field with the crop scanner on the back. We use Courseplay to scan the soil sampler to do the soil sampling, and we are going to get the lime spread because there's a lot of lime spreading to do. Almost all of the fields need lime, and there are some fertilizing contract cropping up, and if we head over to the oaks again, we'll probably get a whole load of them. And after a little break, we are back. And yeah, I'm hoping that between Saxthorpe and the oaks we can do a whole load of fert contracts, make a load of money, and maybe actually be able to get enough to buy another field, which would be really cool. I always like fert contracts for making money. They do pay well. And the same actually with seeding contracts, particularly if we end up with 2 seeders, we should be able to get through a whole load of those as well. I'm kind of torn, actually, because my general guidance is land is king, and we want to own the whole map. But there is a bit of a balance on this save in terms of the more kit we've got, the more contracts we can do, and we can earn money. Now, spending 200 grand on a tractor means a lot of contracts to earn that money back. But yeah, I'm kind of torn. So I was about to head off to do the liming and realised that I need to repair and refuel this tractor before we start. So trying to be better at that. And there are 2 cages of fert there. Those were in the spreader before we started. Leaving them there is going to come back to haunt me in a little bit. We will be seeing them again, annoyingly. So 4 grand to 4.5 grand to repair the tractor. There is a real downside to running these nice expensive tractors. Anyway, over at the store, so we are going to just checking the sales. I know there was a Breedle in the sales at one point, and I know there was a Kubota spreader in the sales at one point, and I should have brought at least one of those, but I didn't. So yeah, we could have picked one up for probably half price. So torn between, we've got a K105 already. We could go for the 165, or we could go for the Kubota Geo spread, because that does have a 10,000 litre cheaty capacity and a 42 metre working width. But I end up going for the Breedle again, just building up that kind of consistent set of kit. I kind of like that. It's kind of how I am. So even to the extent I'm going to go for the same extension and spreaders. So that's how I am, and it looks better, and that's important. I need to go and check actually, because I can't remember which capacity I have on the other one, or I couldn't when I was doing this. So quick double check. And that's why I was also saying that we are going to struggle to afford to buy a field at the moment, because I'm going to spend 50 odd grand on another lime / fert spreader. We should get narrows on one of these, although we're probably not going to need it, because we have got this sprayer to do any extra fert spraying that we need to do. Actually, maybe we don't need to. So these are mainly going to be, I guess maybe we should. These are mainly going to be for liming our fields and then doing fertilizing contracts, of which there are some starting to crop up. There's a good quick maths in the head, 50 grand's worth there probably. So just finishing off the soil sampling. Of course, I missed most of the corners. I end up missing one of them as well, annoyingly, but I'm going to go around and pick up most of the corners, and hopefully then this rain shower will have passed over. It's not due to rain for too long, so that will be nice because we can crack on. Not running the mud mod on here. I might add it in. I'm really, the little bit I've done with it on Glenlarvan, I'm really enjoying. It's it might be a challenge with this tractor with its skinny old tyres on, but the stuff that I did on there, the testing that I did, it worked really well. You sunk in a bit. You needed to stick your diff locks and your 4-wheel drive on, but I could still plough a field in the rain. So, wasn't awful. I was on pretty chunky tyres. They were on Eagle spec tyres. So yeah, it worked well. It was good fun. It's not the experience that you might have seen from Dagwin on Purbeck, for example, where I think he went a bit heavy-handed on the mud, probably intentionally. Yep. So actually, it's a really good mod. Seeing him use it really put me off. So we just spent 9 grand on soil samples. We're going to have a few more to do, but not too many. It really put me off using the mud mod. I think it's put a lot of people off. And I think, so the thing with Glenlarvan and I believe with Saxthorpe is they're not prepared for the mud mod. And I think some of the maps that have been prepared for it, they've been a bit heavy-handed, so it's really hard to get into fields because they've made the entrances really muddy and that kind of thing. I haven't done any of that. It's just a case of you get the effect of when the ground is wet, it's harder to work on, and that's what I wanted. So, we're just going to get this field scanning finished. Scanning is the word that I was looking for, and then we can crack on. Released a really cool little video today, which you guys will have seen hopefully by now, and that is the update to Real Dashboard. No, not Real Dashboard, Dashboard Live. I got those two confused when I was recording the video. The update to Glowin's Dashboard mod to have the minimap in cab. Mind blown completely when I saw that. I think so that I can actually play with that a bit, we might, and we've got a class dealer here, we might get a little demo of that tractor for something, so that I can have a play with it, really, basically. And I'm not sure what, but maybe to seed a field or something, it should be a bit of fun. Yeah, it's so clever. Those guys that do the scripting stuff, that are, you know, that's Glowing's own mod. So he's part of the farming agency, but that stuff that he's doing on his own, those guys in the farming agency that do the scripting are insanely clever. So, oh, it's given me my crop info. So I did say I was going to do canola, but I'm actually going to have to go check now as to what would be good in our crop rotation, it having had poplar and then being fallow. So that we can maximise. I'd randomly picked starting on canola in the crop rotation, but I'll have another look and see which one maximises how much we're going to get, because that's what it's all about on here to some extent. Because if it was all about maximising, I wouldn't have put canola in the rotation, because it's not one of the most profitable crops. In fact, it's the other end of the table, but it's it did well in the crop rotation in terms of maximising the yield of the crops around it, so that's why I did it. And it's not one that I do that often, so you get a lot of contracts for it, but I don't do a lot of growing it myself because it's not as profitable as some of the others. Yeah, and we can see the cow farm in the distance there, tempting me. It's a target. It's definitely a target, but not until we own a lot more of the map. And not even planning to get into grass work until we own a lot more of the map. If we end up buying, there are some grass fields on the map. If we end up buying any of them, I will be cultivating them in for arable crops. But I'm probably just going to avoid them and focus on buying arable fields. So, kind of hoping that if between here and the Oaks we can get a bunch of contracting done, then I can maybe earn enough to pick up the difference, to pick up that extra field that we want. I think that would be a good way to go. I'm kind of thinking, so we've got the pair of these now. If there's a bunch of contracts on the Oaks, we do an early morning set off and not bother with the truck and just get down there before the traffic kicks in and do a day's work and drive back once the traffic's died down. And we could do that, I'm sure. You know, Ollie does it in his fast track to get over to Tom's farm, so I think it'd be fine. Mostly back roads, I think. Mark did suggest that I get an auger wagon to keep this thing fed, and I did look at them, but they're really expensive, more expensive than just buying another one and having two working. So that's what I went for. Honestly, either option would have been a good way to go. I think with Farm Sim, it's one of those things that there are many ways to do a job, and most of them aren't wrong. You know, most of them aren't more right. It's just choices, and you know, you can choose how you want to do things, and it's one of the things that keeps the game fresh. I think that there are a lot of different ways you can tackle jobs. You can choose to do certain bits and not do others. You know, I quite often won't mulch, for example. I think eventually on here we will, if I can pick up a big mulcher. Then I could see me getting into mulching the crops just to push the yield a little bit more. In the same way that with precision farming, I don't usually use the crop scanner that you can get, because the yield bonus is really small. And versus the setup cost, the opportunity cost of buying the crop scanner versus the yield gain is generally quite small for me, because I don't do large arable farms. It's more about animal farming normally, whereas we have a large arable farm, and so the yield gain across all of the fields is probably going to make it cost effective. We have a sprayer, we have a sprayer tractor, so the only bit we're missing is the sensors. So particularly if we see one in the sale, then I would definitely think about picking it up. Yeah, I don't remember the exact numbers. I did do a load of testing on it when precision farming came out, and you're generally adding 5 or 10 kilograms of nitrogen at that point to really perfect the fertilization, and so you get quite a small gain. But I think at the scale we're doing arable on here, it's probably going to be worth it. I'm really just looking forward to seeing the yields are with fields that are properly cared for, with fertilizer, with lime. It's going to make a big difference, I think. Some of the yields were not great come harvest this time. I'm probably, it depends how we're doing financially when we get to it. I really might end up getting a 3rd combine. So there's a trade, or we do another year with the 2, and then we look at buying a big combine. I might see if this is, because the other thing is there's going to be harvesting contracts, hopefully. So I don't know. It would be tempting to maybe pick up a 3rd combine. There, a couple hundred grand with the headers and stuff. So depends if we've got the time in the year to harvest everything and do contracts. It would be nice, maybe. I think I said that I didn't want to sell stuff on here, but maybe we do that. Maybe we sell the 2 and buy 1 big combine. That's an option. That's definitely an option. So, yeah. Going to have run 2 headlands on here. So there was the rain shower passed over. We've got, I think, until into the evening before the rain's going to kick in again. So might end up, probably carry on from here with either more liming or getting this field seeded. It depends what I end up planting in here now, because I do want to check to see with the previous state of fallow and poplar how that fits into the crop rotation tool. Might be that canola is not a good option. I do want to try and maximize the yield off of the field now we've got the choice. But yeah, we'll have a play with the crop rotation mod probably at the start of the next video to work out what crop I'm actually going to plant in here, because I had assumed that I wasn't going to get that information. I'd looked before I did the crop scanning, and the game didn't know, and it's really weird that doing the crop scanning tells you that. It wasn't the behavior I expected. So it might be that I might actually set it up as a little mini separate one, and put in the poplar and the fallow, and then cycle through the options on our current rotation and see which one is going to work best. So just trying to get set up with GPS, and the little pause I think was me getting my brain going. I recorded the gameplay for this very early this morning. I think I started about 4:30, so yeah, was an early start. I'm just looking now for the keys to shift the track around. Although I have the macro keyboard set up for enhanced vehicle, it doesn't have the keys on it to shift the track around, and I'm not used to doing that with this mod, so I had to go look the keys up basically, and there we go, nice and easy to do. So I can now just run GPS and get this done. This is the GPS elements of the 3 GPS mods. This is the last one that I actually need to do a tutorial on. It's the one probably with the most complicated key combinations, I think. That's why I did the macro keyboard for it. And then I need to do the VCA and enhanced vehicle, the features videos. So I'll be trying to get at least one of those done next week, although next week is looking incredibly busy in my day job. So at the moment it looks like I have 4 solid days of meetings starting from Monday. So I'm going to probably be doing videos every other day for a bit, and there may be another gap. I'm trying to avoid it, but you know, realistically, my day job has to be the priority. It pays the bills. So yeah, possibly going to be a gap. I'm not sure. Also taking a bit of a break from the Terra Life Plus streams, partly because I think the guys are doing a whole load of work in the background, and there's going to be a whole load of new stuff we can show off soon, hopefully. So I'm just kind of waiting for that, because we've pretty much shown everything that's in the alpha map that we've been showing off in the streams over the last many months. So I think the plan was to move to beta testing soon, and so probably we'll pick it up again then, I think, unless there's anything really interesting to cover. Yeah. So yeah, now it's really just a case now of cracking on with getting the liming done. It looks really grim just off the edge of the field. The weather's actually showing as cloudy, but it almost looks like it's raining in the distance. It's a really cool weather effect. I think it's the combination of the cloud and the map boundary. It makes it look like it's, you know, kind of raining off wherever that is in Norfolk, where the rainstorms passed over. It's a really weird but really cool effect. Yeah, and as I said, me abandoning those 2 fertilizer pallets did come back to haunt me. So, handily, I run Simple Inspector, and I've seen the auto drive was sat at 7 seconds for quite a while. So that suggested that things were stuck. So yeah, we jump in the AgroStar and grab the pallet forks. I was actually thinking of just using the headstock on the front loader to just push them out of the way, but do it properly, do the job properly, do it once rather than doing it twice half-assed. Although we do get some fun behaviour with the pallet forks in the buildings here. It's happened a couple of times actually on here. I don't know if the buildings are maybe not quite placed on the ground properly, or if it's the buildings, because the buildings have floors built into them, I think. So it could be that, but yeah, that happens. Farms and Briscoe, if you're still watching these, don't know. But I think it happened when I tried to put the pallet forks down in the building before, so yeah. No idea, but maybe something to have a little look at. We've still got the Badaranti. I think I was considering selling that off now that I've bought the 2 normal plows back. It will be useful for our own fields. Because the main reason I bought it is it doesn't count as a ploughed state for contracts. My only concern is that whether it will count as a ploughed state for precision farming and weeds. And here comes the 7250 with a fresh load of lime, and because I've got GPS set up on the 7230, I am going to switch the tractors over, send the 7250 back with the empty lime spreader to refill it, and we'll hook the other tractor up to this one. In the real world, you probably wouldn't do that, but in FS, this is the easiest way of keeping the GPS track going. So that's what I've done. Actually, we don't need. I do end up using a little bit of that last load, but not huge amounts. So the amount of lime we use really isn't that bad for the field. I think we were probably used about 48,000. I'm just going to destroy the little tractor as well. Did I mention this was quite early and I maybe wasn't very awake? Yeah, I think we used 50,000 litres of lime, possibly not that much. So yeah, it wasn't too bad. The obviously the first layer of lime with precision farming is always more. I'm not sure whether it's more than base game and once you've done it once, it's a lot less you have to apply. So yeah, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. It's never bothered me the amount of lime, not overly bothered me the amount of lime you have to use with precision farming. Because once you've done the first application can be grim. I might have moaned about it on Glenlartham. But once you've done the first application, it's fine. You know, you can either apply a little bit every harvest, or every few harvests you apply a little bit more. It works. If you don't like the fact that it uses lots of lime, there are things you can do in precision farming to change how much it needs or changes. So I think I did videos on that. I think. I did do one on changing it so that when you load the map up the first time, you actually start with a better lime and nitrogen state. If you really wanted, you could do that before you started playing. You could edit the map to change. I think it's editing precision farming to change its starting values. So you could do that. And then you'd have to apply less at the start. Up to you, I guess. We're on the last couple of runs, 2 or 3, I think. I am going to say thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel members at this point. I have no idea at what time we are in the video, so that's a bit annoying. But I'll make a note of the time where I am. And just realised so I usually have a little pad of post-it notes next to me. I thought I was writing on a post-it note. I'm actually writing on the back of a sticker, which is a bit random. Yeah. So I don't think we're going to quite finish. Well, I know we don't quite finish because I have already played this and already watched it once, commentating on it, but the first commentary was not good for a few reasons, and so I deleted it. I wasn't happy with it. It is no more, and I think I've done a better job this time. I was a bit moany about some stuff in the last one, and it wasn't stuff that in the end I wanted to be public, so it has been consigned to the Windows trash can. In fact, it wasn't. It was shredded, because I tend to use Shift-Delete rather than delete when I delete things. So they don't actually go in the trash can, because that saves disk space. Yeah, I was talking about some stuff, and I don't really want to go back over it. So the words, there are words. I'm rambling now because it's the end of a long day. So I recorded the first go of the commentary at this at lunchtime, then done an afternoon at work, and it's now the evening. Well, early, about to be evening, and so yeah. Kind of tired now, let's be honest. Most people won't be watching at this point anyway, so it's only you regulars, and you are more than happy to listen to me stumble my way through the last few minutes of a video, hopefully. I was kind of hoping that next week, will be next week at this point, I could have done some stuff on the horse DLC when it released, but I'd say I think I'm going to be in meetings all of the first 4 days of next week, so not going to happen probably. They involve a fair bit of travel every day, so I think I'm probably just going to be in survival mode from about Tuesday onwards until the weekend next week. But bear with me, please. It's weird. It's going to potentially be my first trip into London since before the pandemic. So that's going to be different, particularly as there is also a tube strike on, which means I can get an overground train most of the way, and then a bit of a walk through London. So, but not as much of a walk as some people. So yeah, going to be interesting. So last little bit left, annoyingly close to finishing, but I'm not going to do what I did. I'm not going to swap tractors. We're going to just try and set up a the GPS course for the last of it. It should work okay. If this was VCA, I would have no concerns. I would have had no concerns about changing it each time we needed to swap. I still feel like I'm learning how enhanced vehicle works in almost every aspect. So, yeah. I really want to sit and add the dashboard live to the tractors on here, but I know it's quite a lot of work, which is why I was talking earlier about getting a demo of the class on here. I had a brief look into the changes that went into because you're having to change the i3D and the XML. I think potentially it's the only off-putting thing of that mod is it does require. I'm hoping that in the future modders will pick it up and make use of it and make versions that work with it. The Ford combine, that we have on Glenlarvan are set up for real dashboard. So I'm hoping that more modders will pick that up and do versions of tractors that have it built in, because so cool. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, click the like button. Any comments, questions, suggestions, stick them below, and I will see you next time on Saxthorpe Farms.